We're in Dubai, it's June, the season is done and the off season is here. You've got to enjoy yourself during the break. Bit of partying, let your hair down, mentally switch off. But that window is now closed. The off season is a crucial period in any footballer's career. They give us a golden opportunity to work on things that we can't when the season starts. Get it right and the upcoming season can change your life. So this isn't any vlog. It's a full blueprint of how you should train, run, recover, what you should eat in your summer breaks. Let's go. All right, let's talk about how the off-season should actually be structured, because this is where most players will go wrong. They either train too hard too early and end up breaking down middle of the season, or they leave it too late, go into panic mode towards the back end of the off-season, and they don't come back ready or fit enough when pre-season and the actual season is up and running. So think of your off-season in 3 phases. Phase 1, the first week to 10 days, is all about rest and recovery, sorting out any lingering issues you may have, just giving yourself downtime, let your hair down a little bit, have some fun. Also things like light mobility, you can keep the legs ticking over but nothing strenuous on the body. Let your muscles, joints and central nervous system have a break. Then in phase 2, weeks 2 to 3, this is your engine building block. Aerobic fitness, foundational gym work, sorting out any underlying issues you may have from the season before. No max lifts, no intense sprinting just yet. Here, we're just laying foundations. And then we've got the exciting stuff, phase 3, where we shift gears. Football specific movements, accelerations, decelerations, repeated sprint exposure, power-based gym work. You start building your touch back in, change of direction, short reactions, high-speed running, the stuff that feels like a game. And the key really is to make sure every week you're progressively building. And that's in regards to volume, intensity, and also complexity of the sessions that you're doing. If you're doing the same stuff 3 weeks in a row, you're not progressing, you're coasting. And that's why I'm going to educate you in this video on what you should do. Just walked from my room to where I'm gonna start running. Done 2 little lengths up there and back, and I'm already sweating more now than I would be after a running session or even a training session back home. Guys, what a place this is. It'll be so easy to just stay in Nobu, having a few drinks by the pool all day, loving life. But we need to get into the meat and drink of the off season. Running. I hate it, everybody hates it. It's so long, but this is where champions are made. All right, so you've had 7 to 10 days off. Week 1 and 2, rebuild the engine. When you've had a break, you've not been eating well, maybe been on holiday, few drinks, whatever, the first thing that drops off is your aerobic base. That's your engine, that fuels everything. So we don't start with sprints, we don't start with chaos, we start with steady based runs, getting the legs moving again, getting the heart and lungs working again, and cleaning up mechanics. I'll usually start with what's called 4x4s. You run at 75 to 80%, it should feel like second gear. You're moving, you're breathing, but it's rhythm. You then do 4 minutes, have 2 minutes off, and then do that 4 times. What a session. Good run in the bank. 4 4s, not sexy, but they're essential. 7 minutes 36 in zone 5, which is number of times spent over 173 beats per minute. This, you can see on Whoop here, displays my heart rate nicely. Average heart rate 144, max heart rate 179. Nothing too strenuous, like we said. We're just building right now. So in phase one, alongside running sessions like 4-4s, we'll also do runs like 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off, covering around 70, 75-ish meters. You're getting a bit of high-speed running exposure now, but you're still not going flat out. Controlled decels, controlled accels, so there's very minimal risk of injury. And in running terms, these are called your tempo runs. You know, we're not trying to kill ourselves here. We're trying to remind our body how to move like an athlete again. And in this phase, I like to do 3 to 4 running sessions a week. No double sessions. We don't want to tax the central nervous system. We're just building that base. Then, once that base is there, that's when we start building the battery, practicing our ability to sprint repeatedly, which is so specific for the modern game in the world of football today. And guys, you'll see so many things online about these extremely over the top, drawn out sessions. The beauty of these sessions is they don't have to be complicated. Go to a pitch, find some flat grass, and in this phase here, all you need to do is sprint 20 meters, have 20 seconds rest, and do that 8 to 12 times. Like we said, like anything, over time, you start increasing the intensity or the volume. So you'll do more sets, potentially more reps. You might run faster, have less rest. When you start running in this way, which is specific for football, that incomplete recovery is what builds your ability to start recovering under fatigue. This is also when you want to start adding in some controlled fartlek work. Very good for football. So a running session that I like to do, and I've done it in previous videos, is a high-speed run, 30 or 40 meters or so, high-speed run back to the start, then a 50-55 meters jog and back to the start, then a sprint 15 to 20 meters or so back to the start, and then a 6-meter walk and back to the start. You do 3-4 rounds of that. It might be 3.5 minutes worth of work, 3 or 4 sets, session done. It's as easy as that. You don't need to make it fancy. This is the stuff that works. Sometimes simplicity is key. And now the last phase. The base is solid, the battery's built, and the final phase is all about sharpening. We don't want to go back to pre-season fatigued, remember. We want to go back feeling ready, sharp, confident and fit. It's very important in this phase that you take it back to football. Remember, we're not runners. We don't want to be able to do 5K in 16 minutes. We want to become fit on the football pitch. So now we'll start implementing things like change of direction, reactive sprints, keep up the fartlek work. We're doing less, but with more intent. Think of it like this. Phase 1 was pretty much all aerobic based. Phase 2 starts to become a little bit aerobic plus anaerobic. Phase 3, now we've got the base, becomes very much anaerobic based, a lot more shorter reps, more power output, shorter recovery times, mimicking what football is really like. If anyone's looking for a football specific running program, let me know down in the comments below and I'll try and send you one. We're gonna get ready for the gym now. There's no point running if your mechanics aren't right and you're not supplementing it with gym. So I'm gonna map that out for you. Let's get down and crack on with this session. All right, so you've got the running boxed off. Let's talk gym. Now, if you're serious about football, you will know how much of a part gym plays in not only keeping you on the pitch, but helping you to perform at your best on the pitch as well. So many players get this wrong in the off season and also in the season. Some people would just think, let's get fit in the off season, don't do any gym, once again end up breaking down, hamstrings become weaker, end up pulling them 2 months into the season, athleticism levels go down, you start losing core strength, not able to jump as high, not able to turn as sharply, and it just all becomes a bit of a shambles. That's why the gym, vitally important that you get it right here, get the ball rolling, so when the actual season starts, you're not suffering with DOMs and you're playing catch up, which is not what we want. The first thing I do when I get back in the gym, check the car, MOT of the body. Where's feeling tight? What's not moving right? And what got beat up during the season? Because the last thing you want to do, right, is start building strength on a dysfunctional body. So we need to correct any issues, any imbalances before we start any kind of lifting. A really simple MOT that you guys can go through. First exercise you're going to do, ankle mobility test. What you're going to do, keep your heel on the floor and push your knee towards the wall as far as it will go. If you cannot keep your heel planted to the floor with your knee touching the wall at 5 inches, this is something you need to work on. What I like to do for this exercise is wrap a strength band around your talus. You can either stand up or kneel down, and then what you're going to do is literally bounce in and out at end range. Try to feel a stretch in the back of your ankle, and over time, 2 sets of 10, 3 sets of 10, with some isometric holds maybe, you're going to start building that ankle mobility. Make sure your left and right side are even, check them both. If one's off, you'll know, all right, cool, I've got to spend more time on the weaker side. Secondly, a big one, you want to check seated hip, internal and external rotation. How I like to do it, sit on a foam roller and keep your torso upright. Make sure that your glutes are stuck to the foam roller, like a windscreen wiper, keeping your feet on the floor. Bring both your knees left of your body and then to the other side, to the right of your body. If you feel any tightness, say for example, on my right leg when I go to my left and it feels a little bit more restricted than my left, I'll know I'm lacking internal rotation for the hip. So I'll show you the corrective exercises for them. So with this hip internal rotation you're lacking, get a strength band, attach it as high as you possibly can into the hip joint, keep your foot on the floor, torso and hips stay square, and then bring your knee as far in as possible and do reps of this. And if it's external rotation that you're struggling with, get into that pigeon pose, use the band once again to help with joint distraction, and just hold it here, moving the torso if you want from left to right to down the middle to hit different angles. Third one, thoracic mobility. If you struggle to turn left and right evenly, you'll start compensating in other areas. Your QL lower back will start getting tight. That's another one you want to test and make sure if you were to rotate left and rotate right, both as even as each other to avoid any injuries and ensure that your upper body moves properly as well. Next, one of the most overlooked movements in football, tibial internal and external rotation. Sit on a box, have your knees at 90 degrees and put your hands on the outside of your knees, pushing inwards slightly to try and stop your femur from moving outwards. Now, try to rotate your shin only inwards and outwards. Do not let the movement come from the ankle. Try and move the shin bone. If you notice any deficiencies, literally just bang these out for reps. And lastly, of course, we can test every muscle to see where the imbalances are. And if you want to go through a bigger MOT, this is something you can do, right? But probably I'd say the most key muscle when it comes to football, the hamstrings, because they're the ones that are most likely to pull. You see so many players out there end up pulling their hamstrings when they reach above 90% pace, jump when they're fatigued, whatever it might be. A simple test, 45-second isometric hold, slight bend in the knee, and if you feel any cramping on your left side or your right side, you'll know, okay, this side's weaker than my left, or vice versa. You'll start off with some more isometric-like holds to increase the strength before you move on to sprinting, eccentric strengthening like RDLs, etc. And make sure that you're not building on that dysfunction, like I said. Once I know what's not moving right, that's what I'll focus on, and that's what you should focus on for 15 minutes before every session, before you even touch a barbell. So a lot of people will think it's about stretching. Not always. Mobilize, activate, pattern the movement, then get into it. So once the body's moving properly, ankles are freed up, hips are rotating well, our core's switched on, then we earn the right to build. And this is where I see so many players get it wrong, right? They either go too light and waste this golden opportunity, or they go full gym bro and their nervous system becomes completely exhausted for the start of the off season. Neither of that transfers to football. What you need is structured periodization. I'm going to talk to you about how your gym sessions in the off season should look. In the first 2 weeks, I'm not focused on lifting heavy. It's all about controlled movements, stability, and time under tension. So a lot of isometric work. What I want to do is build joint integrity, joint health, and prep the tendons for what's about to come in the off season. This, right, is where you clean up all your movement patterns. So it's all about getting the body symmetrical again, and we're still building muscle, but it's just with control and purpose. You'll see a lot of things like split squats, step ups, single leg RDLs, most of the work being unilateral with a 3-second descent and a 1 second slight explosion on the way up, just to really own the movement. Weeks 3 to 4 is where it gets a little bit more exciting. We've got all the boring stuff out of the way. Now we want to start lifting heavy, but with speed. We're not chasing PBs here. We're doing exercises that are functional and specific for football. And this is where you want to live, in that 3 to 5 rep range, lifting around 75 to 85% of your max. Trap bar deadlifts, front squats, leg press, the more compound-like exercises. The movements are clean now, so I can start producing some real force. And now the final phase. It's all about transfer. We've built the base, we've added strength. Now what we want to do is convert it into power. So I'll strip the volume down. Fewer sets, fewer reps, but everything that I do will be with max intent. Trap bar jumps, med ball throws against the wall, sprints, bounding, all short, sharp, explosive movements. This is where the gym starts to mimic football. You're asking your body to switch on, produce force fast, and then recover quick. That's football. Just got ready for dinner. Guess what? This place I'm going to tonight, my favorite, well actually there's two special things about tonight. Firstly, it's my favorite place to eat in Dubai. Absolutely unreal. If anyone's out here, get on this place. Top notch. Secondly, I'm being joined by a very special someone, Lily. It's our first date night since, I think, January, mid-January, so 4 and a bit months now since I left London to come to Hong Kong. We actually just met here for the first time in Dubai. Anyway, we're going to be talking everything nutrition while we're down in this restaurant. Map it out for you. Let's get down there. Wow, look who it is! Here she is! First date night in a long time. It's the best I've seen you look. We're going to a Greek restaurant, guys, just over here. Wow. This place, eh? Unbelievable. Alright, let's talk nutrition, because how you fuel yourself in the off season is completely different to how you would eat in season. Remember, the goal now is to rebuild the engine. We're not maintaining it anymore. You're probably not training twice a day, or at least with the same intensity as you would do during a normal training week, where you could do anything up to 8K a day, high speed running, sprint distance, plus a heavy gym session in the afternoon. That means your food has to shift to match that. So that's the first principle, right? Match the intake to the output. You train less, you need fewer carbs. Now, so many footballers that I know of, including myself, have been guilty of this in the past. Fewer carbs does not mean zero carbs. If you have zero carbs, I'm telling you, when you're doing training day after day or double sessions, you're gonna crash and burn. It doesn't work, it's not sustainable. Yeah, you might end up getting super ripped, but we're footballers here, we're not bodybuilders. In and around games and high intensity sessions, the right thing to eat would be big bowls and plates of white rice, pasta. Now we're in the off season, we don't need energy absorbed as quickly. This is the time where we'll move to more whole foods, slower carbs, less sugar. So how does that look? Morning nutrition is where you get the pen and pad out. Always start with hydration, water plus electrolytes. That's a non-negotiable, especially when you're out in a place like Dubai and you're sweating buckets. Even now, I've got a little dab on, it's so humid here. Get that down, 500 milliliters after you wake up. Setting yourself up for a good day. Typically, in and around match day, high glycemic index carbs, so bagels with honey, a banana would be our source of carbohydrates, right? But now, shift over to oats, blueberries, plus a nut butter. Protein-wise, alongside that, and by the way, protein always for breakfast, 2 to 3 egg whites. If you're in a rush, you can have a protein shake, but always food over protein shakes. It's the way forward. There's a reason that Ronaldo doesn't touch any kind of protein shakes and energy drinks. Keep it natural. In and around training, keep the fat intake low. We want fast fuel, not slow digestion. On an off day, that's when you might have some more fats for breakfast. And then to keep it simple, lunch and dinner obviously will look pretty similar. If you've done a double session, that's when you'd consume more of the high glycemic index carbs, right? White rice, pasta, white breads. However, typically in the off season, we're going to be eating things like sweet potato, quinoa, slower carbs. Alongside that, right, and a general rule, 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight in a day. So me, 96 kg, 192 grams of protein. If you're unsure how to measure your protein and you're kind of new to nutrition, just get 2 palm-sized portions of meat. It can be anything, steak, chicken, fish, eggs, and you'll be good. Typically, it will be dinner over lunch where I'll start to bring the fats in. Salmon, olive oils, avocado, and I always try to have slower carbs at dinner because it also helps with sleep. And guys, I've had a long career, right? So I've seen so many mistakes that players make in the off season. I want to tell you a few so you're not making them same mistakes. And I used to do this when I was younger as well. First one, a lot of people eat like they're bulking in the off season. There's no need to add size if your base is already there. Know what sort of body you have and adapt. Could be a time for you to lose weight or build muscle. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Zero carbs, like I said, low energy, poor recovery. Do not completely cut out carbs, you'll struggle. Another thing, too little protein. Don't underestimate how much 2 grams per kilogram of protein really is. You've got to eat a lot. You want to give yourself the best chance to recover, reduce DOMs, and make sure you're actually building muscle, if that's your goal. You need to get it in. Forgetting hydration completely. So many times in the off season, and especially if you do decide to have a drink or two, seriously dehydrate you. Invest in some electrolytes. Make sure the magnesium, potassium and sodium levels are good and you'll be sweet. So guys, your nutrition either fuels your performance or it slows it down. In the off season, you've got space to get this right. Track how you feel, not just how you look. Sharpness, energy, sleep quality, gut health, that's what tells you if your food's dialed in. Right. Sorry, I got distracted. Imagine eating without food. I'm raw.
Yeah.
Someone looks happy.
My favourite dessert.
What is it? Is it healthy?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Greek yogurt, ice cream, honey and nuts.
Nice. Ice cream's healthy? Stuffed after dinner actually. Ended up having Greek salad, steak, broccoli, octopus. Healthy,
Yeah.
but filling, which is what you want. Gonna get back up to the room now, talk a little bit about last little piece of the puzzle, and then you're ready to go. Finish your off season strong. Guys, just going to bed. Long day. Remember, you can do all the training.
Sorry.
You put 50p in you. Remember, you can do all the training. You can eat perfectly. If you do not recover properly, your body is not adapting. And this really is what separates the pros from the almost pros. Probably the most overlooked part of the off season. If your recovery is poor, you're just accumulating fatigue, which would be such a waste of time. Think about doing crazy runs, heavy ass lifts in the gym, and then you get 4.5 hours sleep. Waste of time. The best way to recover, right? Not ice baths, not putting bath bombs in your bath at 9 p.m, saunas, hot tubs, massage guns, whatever it might be. The best way to recover, and you'll all know it, is sleep. We grow when we sleep, not when we train. Remember that. One bad night's sleep and your reactions drop off by 20%. 2 bad nights sleep in a row, your testosterone levels drop, your growth hormone levels drop. Your body is literally unable to repair itself at this point. I always strive to get 8.5 to 9 hours as a minimum. If I fall just short, it's not too bad. It's either the worst night's sleep I'll have nowadays would be around 7 hours 14 minutes, right? And I actually do wake up feeling a little bit tired, but on average my week will tell me I get 8 hours 20 a night. Before a game I can sleep up to 10 hours. So how do you get it right? Room temperature 18 degrees, magnesium glycinate 30 minutes before bed, no phone screens, TV screens, lights if you can avoid them, an hour before bed, and try not to have your last meal too close to when you're about to sleep. Then you'll get a good night's sleep, unless you're Lily. you can scroll TikTok for 2 hours,
30 seconds before I fall asleep.
30 seconds
With the
before she
lights
falls
on.
asleep, and she sleeps more than me. It's crazy. I don't know how she does it. I'm so jealous. I've always spoke so highly of ice baths, but in the off season, guys, if you're doing any hypertrophy work especially, stay away from the ice baths. It blunts your gains. And I think Jose Mourinho came out and spoke about why he doesn't allow his players to use ice baths in pre-season. It's the same principle here. Saunas, great for you, stimulates growth hormone and cardiovascular recovery. And then massage, soft tissue work once a week to stay on top of it is ideal. If you haven't got access to it, you can use foam rollers. Sometimes, you know what, it can be more effective, especially if you use trigger point balls and whatnot into your glutes and hip areas. They work well. So that's pretty much the full day. We're in Dubai. We've got a couple more days here and then we'll be heading to Greece where we'll ramp up the off-season training. But let me leave you with this, probably the most important part of this whole video. All of that doesn't matter if your mindset isn't right. And I don't want to get too deep into this because this is a whole topic in itself and I'll explain more in the next video. But the truth is, football doesn't care what your name is. It doesn't care how many followers you've got. It only cares if you're sharp when that whistle blows. And there's always someone else working in another city, another country, watching the same video and deciding to take action right now. Being a pro isn't just about getting paid. It's about how you live, how you show up when no one's watching. But we'll dive deeper into that in the next video. Anyway guys, it's been a pleasure. First night back with Lily. Lily, thank you for featuring my YouTube video. Cheers, pal. If you've watched until the end, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and fair play to you. You're trying to improve. See you in the next one.